Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the Little King Ranch. Today's video we're going to be showing you how to break down a rabbit, how to cut it down into its individual pieces, and maybe give you a few ideas on what you can do with some of those pieces as well. Hopefully you've already seen our video on how to properly dispatch and clean a rabbit, and this is basically just what you do a few days later after you've let the rabbit rest. You can see we've already got our bucket over here, and we've actually got all our supplies set up and ready. That's one of the important things that's going to help this go really well for you, is to have everything in place and everything set up before you begin. I really use very little equipment to do this. You can see all I have out right now is one knife and a heavy-duty pair of shears. I've got one extremely sharp knife with an interchangeable blade. I can swap that out anytime it gets dull. It's actually a surgical scalpel, and so it does a great job of getting in between and cutting out the pieces that we're going to be cutting today. And when it comes to going through bone, a good heavy-duty pair of shears is hard to beat. And that's really all you're going to need as far as equipment. So let's go ahead and get out a rabbit and we'll get it going. These rabbits have been resting for about 3 days now. We like to rest our rabbit for just about that amount of time in a very light brine. And that brine is helpful for helping pull out the blood. And it also gives the meat a time to rest and use up the last little bit of stored energy. By letting the rabbit rest, it goes through rigor mortis, and it's going to make sure your meat is good and tender. One of the things I do while I'm rinsing is I just take a glance and try and catch any last little furs that I may have missed while I was cleaning the rabbit initially. And I also will bend the spine and actually crack the ribs up here. And I open up the pelvis while I'm rinsing as well. Both of those are going to be important steps for when we're breaking down the rabbit. Once you've rinsed it off, go ahead and put it down on the cutting board. My daughter likes to say it looks like he's getting ready for a massage. So that's not what I'm going to do, but at least it'll help you know how to lay him down. First thing we're going to cut off is these back legs. A whole lot of really good meat here. You can use these for frying. You can use these for grilling. These really hold a whole lot of excellent meat. What we're doing today in the beginning is I'm actually putting almost all my pieces into this bucket, and this goes into a roaster oven where we're going to slow cook that, and then later tonight we'll actually take this roaster oven, turn it off, and we'll pull all that meat and bag it up, and that comes in handy for meals and meals and meals. So that's one of the things that we like to do here. Alright, to separate the legs, we're just going to take the blade and get right up next to the spine. You'll be able to see what looks like where their tail was connected, and you'll go right along the spine until it gets a little bit tough, and that's where the joint is. So you're going to pull out a little bit, pull his leg out just a little bit, and continue to cut through. Come in from the top side, and voila, you've got one thigh off. Move over to the other side. Make sure you can see here, I go along the spine, all the way up. Sometimes you get lucky, slides right between the bones, and the thigh comes off. The next thing I'm going to cut off are the belly flaps. If you clean this rabbit well, and you didn't have any tearing while you were cleaning, then you're going to have two really nice belly flaps that are just sort of laying there. I look for where the ribs are sitting down. If you want to flip the rabbit over to do this, you can. It might help you see where the ribs are. Just going to go right below the ribs into where the body is, and then straight back. You don't really need to flip though. You can kind of just see where the ribs sit, line it up, slide it along. I have two main uses for this. This is really good for making jerky. My kids and I will go through that stuff really quick. And then also I use it for grinding, and it's real nice for making sausage. Alright, I'm going to go through, I'm just sort of finding little bits of fat here. We want to pull off some of that. Really depends on what your end goal is for the meat. If it's going to be something on a plate, or the individual pieces on a plate, you really do want to take some time and clean it up nice. But if you're doing what we're doing today, which is just throwing it in a slow cooker, then you don't really need to worry about cleaning it up too much. Let me explain to you what I just did here. Taking these front legs off is extremely easy. It really is one pass of the knife and those legs come right off. I also like to use these, put them in a separate bowl, and I'm going to smoke those up here in a little bit, and those are going to be used as hot wings. We love having rabbit hot wings here at the Little King Ranch. Alright, how do you take the front leg off? You're going to grab the front leg, pull up just a little bit. When you do that, you can see right here, it just sort of comes away from the body. I'm going to put my knife right underneath that bone, slide it forward, and that's it, we're free. So those front legs, like I said, are really, really nice for making wings. You can fry them up, you can smoke them, you can put them in the oven. However you like to make chicken wings, do rabbit just the same. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is clean up this saddle area. There's some really nice tenderloins inside here, and that's some really, really prime meat. That's really good stuff. Use the shears, take off that bit of tailbone, and what you'll see over here, that's where I'm going to put all the cast-off bones, and those are all going to be used to make a stock. I don't let anything go to waste when I'm breaking down a rabbit. We put a lot into growing these rabbits, and we want to get a lot out of them. So I use everything. I'm just going to take my scissors and cut along the top of the saddle here. I'm going at a little bit of an angle on both sides, just below these lowest ribs, and then I'm going to cut straight across. And just like that, I've got this beautiful saddle here, and another piece of ribs that's perfect for making bone broth and making stock. Now, if you're processing a bigger rabbit, which I did earlier, you'll notice some really nice tenderloins through here. These guys are little, these are little fryers, and the fryers just don't have a lot on there. If you wanted to, you can run a blade across the spine, just a little bit next to it, and you can get yourself a little bit of tenderloin. But, like I said, on these little rabbits, you're not getting much meat out of that. I just let it go because that's going to make a really nice broth. Alright, before I toss this saddle in there, the last thing I'm going to do is run my thumb or finger right up underneath this silver skin. You can see there's a sort of a skin on the meat. I don't mind it. It's really not that bad when you're eating it, but you can make it a little less tough and a little less chewy if you just take a few seconds to take it off. So like I said, I get my thumb underneath and lift, and then I've got two flaps. Take that knife, cut straight across the top, and there you go. So that's how you break down a rabbit. Hopefully that gave you a good idea of how to do it, and make sure you stop back for more videos and tips on homesteading. Thanks.